B for bat, B for ball, B. C for cat and C for cup, C. D for dog, D for ducks, D. E for egg and E for elephant, E. F for frog, F for fish, F. G for goat and G for grass, G. H for hand, H for head, I for ice and I for igloo, E. J for juice, J for jar, J. K for kit and K for kite, L for lamp, L for leaf, M for man and M for monkey, N for Nick, N for nose, O for ocean, O for oar, P for palm and P for parrot, Q for queen, Q for quail, R for rope and R for rat, S for sun, S for sunflower, S. T for tap and T for tub, U for uncle, U for umbrella, B for violin, B for violet, W for whale, W for water, X for box and X for fox, Y for yacht, Y for yellow, yeah. G for Jew and G for zebra, G. G for Jew, G for zebra, G.